You're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. So a lot of people are unaware of what colorism actually is. Colorism is the discrimination or prejudice against people of a darker skin tone, specifically within the same race or ethnic group. A lot of people believe that colorism stemmed from slavery. Back in those days, the white slave masters would rape or sleep with the slaves, and they would end up having mixed children, so they came out really light. So the more and more that happened, they would put the light-skinned slaves in the house, and the dark-skinned slaves would be left in the field, of course. So it really was like a systematic oppression for people of color, specifically African Americans. You know, they kept it as, you know, anything that was closer to white was better and more pure, but still wasn't good enough because, you know, they were slaves. And over time, it just became like societal manipulation. They also have skin bleaching cream. I have seen it in the beauty supply store, and it's crazy, and that stuff is expensive, and people actually use it, you know, bleach their skin, and it's really sad and degrading and sickening.
Growing up with my friends, I was called Midnight, I was called Blue Black, I was called every name in the book that you can associate with a dark-skinned person.
I remember one time specifically, I was in the 9th grade and I was in my biology class, and it was like these group of light-skinned girls, and this one light-skinned girl was just picking on me so bad, and she was calling me all types of names, and she was like, you know, you dark or whatever, and she was comparing me to her boyfriend who was really dark, and all the light-skinned girls around her were laughing and egging her on. And I remember just sitting there like almost in tears, about to cry.
Well, coming from a predominant white place where I was the only black girl, it was like, oh, you're white, I'm black. Then when I transitioned to America, that's when it was like, you're this shade of black.
I used to always wear a hoodie purposely because I felt like I was too dark and I was almost ugly. So I used to just always walk around with my hoodie on.
Men would be afraid to approach me because they would say, you look mean, or you look too aggressive.
I hate it. It makes people or girls with darker color skin complexion feel less than what they are.
I feel like there shouldn't really be any sense of colorism because people are people at the end of the day, and there shouldn't be discrimination against skin tones. It's not that big of a deal.
I feel that colorism has come a long way, especially over the course of my lifetime, since it spans decades. And, you know, I think that colorism can be defined or viewed as something very inspiring today, as a matter of fact.
I think colorism is a very prevalent issue amongst African Americans. I know that people of other cultures experience it as well. I know in Asia and parts of India it's a big deal, but it's especially prevalent in the black community.
At this point in time, like the way we've set ourselves up, it's kind of unavoidable because of things and people just being like racist in general, and then even like the people who aren't racist, they don't understand, and so I guess that kind of like an aspect of colorism, like it's there, it's going to be there for a while. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be because it's not fair to just assume those things, but just with the way things have gone, it's just a thing.
Aggressive.
Angry.
we're ugly,
threatening.
You're pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
You're soft, and you're very emotional and very sensitive.
Light-skinned girls, you know, they're stuck up, they're uppity.
Lighter skinned females are more attractive.
Light skins are quote unquote better, even though I'm still black. And then that you're closer to white or things of that nature.
The lighter skin tone you are, the more likely you are to get good roles because you're closer to the ideal white, and the darker skin tone, you're gonna be a villain in some sense. And that's just the way we're stereotyped in media.
I once heard an actor talk about how it's harder to get roles and to get casted if you're darker skinned and things like that. So I think that it does kind of play out in different areas of the media, whether it's the film industry, the music industry, just Hollywood in general. I think it's a lot more pressure for sure because, you know, that tends to be what people kind of are more biased towards, and that seems to be the standard.
Colorism is still definitely an issue and something that's going on, but I definitely do feel like people are getting better with it as time goes by.
I feel like it's still going on, but it's like the society is starting to accept the beauty of everyone's color now more than back then.
I feel like it's definitely still an issue, but I think it has gotten better because people are getting to the point where they acknowledge that this is something that has been so instilled in our community, in our media, that it's an issue and that people are bringing attention to it. And I think it is getting better, but it's not perfect yet, but we're working towards it. And I think that's all that matters, that we talk about it, we shed light on it, and we try to do better for the future.
I feel like our generation is more accepting of it, and that it's also getting better with the models that we see today. Like, I don't know, I'm just gonna spit out Ducky Thaw. She's one of the darkest females in the country, and she's like one of the highest paid models in the world.
When the media started having more dark-skinned women and men as leading roles, such as, you know, Tika Sumpter, Lupita Nyong'o, Viola Davis, even like recently with Black Panther. Things like that really boosted my self-esteem because now I have women I can look up to as role models, and they're very beautiful women. So that's what made me love myself even more.
You are beautiful, and don't let anyone tell you different.